Hello everyone, is my screen got weird black rectangles on it? That's good of you Streamlabs. Let's fix that, shall we? Has that done it? Yes, excellent. Hello everyone, how are we this evening? Oh, it's good to see my laptop is cooperating and loading the chat. There we go, it's open at last. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are, of course, tonight working on the chassis. Good evening again, Alex. It's good to... Still well, excellent, excellent evening again, James. I got rid of the on-screen chat thing when I was fixing the black boxes, so this on-screen chat is rather odd, but okay. Let's see if it goes away on its own in time. So yes, the chassis. As you can see from the instructions in front of us, it's a reasonably simple chassis, but it's definitely one of the more complicated chassis, more complicated than the one for the D1, that is for certain. But obviously, as I'm sure you can gather, that's not really saying much. It's still not complicated. Great to see things working as well as Twitch does then. Yes, Alex, working just as well as Twitch does. I remove the chat and it appears after all these weeks of it not working. Let's bring ourselves down to the model. And we shall have a look again at the body, because on Monday I found the proper whistle for the cab. Hello Corbs, good evening, how are you today? Yes, the whistle that we had lost last week appeared on Monday, so has replaced the one that I used. Someday my camera will focus. So there we go, so we now have the proper whistle there. And as I'm sure you all recall, we glued a plastic safety valve off of a Bachmann E4 in place. Hello Christopher, welcome. Do I need to make this account a mod as well as the other account now? It's good to have you here. How are you this evening? Yes, so the plastic safety valve. Well, however, through the week I discovered I had another Southeastern Finecast one. So I do have the correct safety valve for this kit, which to me means we should definitely be replacing that plastic one with the white metal one that it's designed for. And of course that should be soldered in place rather than super glued. I am glad that the week is ending, Corbs. It has been one of those weeks that has been odd. Replace the other with this one. Oh, that's just effort. So I can do that and make you a moderator. I can't be bothered to remove the other one. So yes, as I say, I'm glad this week's coming to an end. It's been one of them. It really has. Hello Killian, welcome, welcome, welcome. As I was just saying, glad the week's ending because it's been one of those weeks and I'm glad I have all you fine people to end it with. So as I was just saying, we are going to remove the E4 safety valve that we used last week because I have found a white metal Southeastern Finecast safety valve of the correct pattern, so that will be the same moulding as was in the kit originally. And the spare whistle I had put on there has been taken off and replaced with the one that was meant to be on the kit. And of course, that coming off that easy is why we want to replace it with a white metal one and solder it. So this gets fitted and look, it looks better already. I definitely haven't pre-fettled that to make sure it would fit or anything. No, not at all. Sounds a bit trying, Gary. Nice to do some modelling to unwind. Indeed, Corbs. Indeed, I had a pipe burst for my hot water tank through the week that could have spelled the end of the layout, actually. So it really has been one of those weeks. It is nice to be able to unwind with a bit of modelling and spending it with some fine people. So as we have done with everything else on here, we just need to get the solder in there. Good evening. It's nice to see so many faces in chat this early. Well, names I suppose rather than faces, but it's good to see you all here this early. Absolutely fantastic. So as we know, there is no such thing as too much flux. A bit of lag then. Oh dear, we don't want lag. Stream fries, yeah, it seems to be working again now though, I'm seeing it fine. I assume everyone else is seeing it fine again. You are good? Good, glad to hear it, Luke. Fine now, yes, good. I thought so. So there we go, nice big dollop of solder in there, and we now have a white metal safety valve as it was supposed to have. Fine for me all through. Oh, excellent. What do you think of the terrier I tweeted earlier? You know what, Luke? It looks alright. Well, I have seen worse fictional liveries. With the extra work that had been done to that to de-southern it, it did look quite good. I think you should buy it. Even if it does get really expensive. I think it was £52 when I had a look. Clean out the excess flux. There we go. So one now fully white metal body. although we have knocked this out. Although I'm sure those that watched the stream recaps as well would not be surprised by that falling out. Because of course the other one fell out on the stream recap. And so had to be fixed afterwards. Where's the white metal solder gone? There it is. Fine, before I wait for that bit. Genuine size, yes. Yeah, it was very well done. You know, I may be quite protective of my terriers, but that one was very, very well done. The flux in the pot is melting again because it's hot. Always good when that happens. Yes, I saw the in-depth look at the cab interior. The cab interior's great. It's brilliant. I'm sure you're not jealous at all of that, are you, Harry? We'll buy it, but it's O-gauge, so we'll go for a lot of money. Money I don't have. Excuses, Luke. Terrible. Not having money. That's an excuse to not spend money. Right, so. Chassis. Gary being positive about LB&SCR Terrier. What realm of chaos is this? Well, look at the week I've had, Alex. It's just one of those things that happens. Put the white metal solder away. Get the etched parts out. Turn the iron up. Doesn't need to go all the way. Get some real solder. Keep the flux, but I can't remember what I did with a pin. There it is. And put the pin away for now. So let's have a look over what we've got before we get started. I thought about doing LER livery panel with standard LER fittings just to upset Great Western people. Get it done, Luke. Get it done. So let's have a look at what we got. So we have two etches, which are identical but reversed. This is the one the right way round. So it's quite a nicely detailed etch. With lots and lots of bits on it. I have been studying these through the week to see what's what. We have some Romford drivers and axles. Romford crank pins. Some Romford 16 and 14 mil. 14 mil for the bogie, 16 mil for the trailing wheel. Wheels. Why not do something you want to do? I do want to do it just to upset you. Some various white metal fittings such as sandboxes, pipes, etc. Screws, bearings, screw-in spacers, and there is some washers in there as well for people doing it in EM. The washers go onto the screw-in spacers and give you EM spacers. Quite handy. You won't carry on. I'll find a GWR forum, post it on there, see how quickly I get banned. Western Thunder then, Luke. That's a very GWR forum. So, we're going to start by removing the main frames, which I really shouldn't be cutting through onto the glass, should I? This is going to blunt my blade so quickly. Not that cutting through brass is particularly good for it. Well, it's not even doing it. Let's do it on the wood. Glad I don't have to face any of this. I'll share as many photos as possible. Sound to myself, Mr. Host. Either I was using a slightly less worn out blade when I did the D1, or this is a slightly thicker brass. Both are possibilities. There we go. That's the bulk of it off. There's still a bit to remove out the front though. Which is actually made up of loco details, because that appears to be the lamp irons. So, no staples for this model. Do it properly though. Put it in Union Pacific yellow. Just trying to think what they would have replaced safety valve, possibly the dome, anything else. Lots of things, like basically everything. I didn't see what your retracted message was, Christopher. I don't like not being able to see that. Doesn't even give me an option to view it. Never mind, I'm sure you retracted it for a reason. Trying to think what they would have that's not usable. Oh, yeah. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Don't be doing stuff like that, especially now that Streamlabs has decided to put chat on screen, which is very odd of it, because the reason it's decided to do that is because I deleted the chat module. So after all these streams of having no chat on screen, but the chat module there set up. I deleted it and now it's displaying. This would probably be a lot easier if the workbench was flat and not covered in big bumps of dried superglue. But why would we want to make things easy on ourselves? I use track clips to cut the parts out. Not that I have much experience with extra kits. I would do, but if I can find my blades don't quite meet each other anymore from the abuse they've got doing things such as this, actually. So they're not actually capable of cutting through etches anymore. Otherwise, yes, I would use them. But rather than ruin another set of track cutters, I'd rather ruin a knife blade that I've got a pot of. Streamlabs user interface is just there to amuse you whilst it decides what it will do itself. I can't have a problem with Streamlabs switching that fine. Oh, true, but that was me saying it badly. No, I'm with Christopher on this. Streamlabs interface is definitely just there to entertain you whilst it decides what it will do. Now remember, everyone, hydration is very important. As is not ruining all your tools. I can tell you this because I have I am down a file this week because I snapped one. And as you can probably see, this one is getting quite smooth now. So I need to get myself some more files. As is smashing that like button. Yes, hydration and smashing like buttons. Both very important. How did I snap it? Well, I was doing this to something and I may have been using slightly too much pressure. I think I threw it out earlier though, rather. Oh no, it's still here. Snapped it. I'm sure that sounds wonderful. I hope you're not wearing headphones. Yeah, I wasn't joking. I mean, these set of files is quite old now, so it's more a case of age than anything else. I've had these files for as long as I've been railway modelling, so one by one they're going to go. They're only Gauge Master ones, it's not like they're particularly expensive. ASMR people won't like this. Positively designed sound. Oh, I'm glad. Oh, I'm glad the sound is divine. I used to be banned from doing things like this when my ex was home. Joys of modelling in the living room, eh? Can get away with it now that I live that I'm here alone. Just me and the kids. Sound isn't particularly annoying through headphones. That's okay then. Self-files at Hobbycraft, that's where mine came from. It is the sound of creation. Yes, yes it is. These ones are Gauge Master ones, so I can just get another set. It's really not that bad. But yes, it was rather irritating when that happened. See, it's snapped along the same way. It snapped along right along the grooves there, so there was obviously a weak point. Never mind. Right then, we want this bag for our screw-in spacers. They are always step one. And we'll use our long nose pliers to reach in, because I can't get into these bags. Apparently not even with the pliers sometimes. Because you see, the alternate to this would be to pour it all out, and then I'm going to lose something. So there we have our 4 screws for our spacers. What do we think the chances are that these actually fit? Oh, they do. That's an improvement over the last one. Why did she not like the noise of a file? Because she didn't like the noise of anything modelling related, Luke. So our 00 frame spacers go in. As I say, there are washers in there to make these out to EM, but not P4. I don't know if that's a case of the kit doesn't work with P4. Perhaps the white metal's too thick and you can't get P4 wheels inside it. Oh, this one does not want to go in. There we go. There we go, chassis done. Some folks say, good that she's your ex then. Well, there's certainly quite a few reasons it's good, Luke. Again, our host shows that taking your time with something means kit building isn't that scary. Kit building is amazingly not scary. That's not tight enough. I didn't think it was. Let's try the slightly bigger one, because these are different screws to the other one I did. Yeah, that's better. Always use the right size screwdriver. I'm glad I make these things seem not scary. Because I know there are plenty of people that do find them scary, and they shouldn't. We want to make sure this one's nice and straight, because our screw is going to drop down through that hole to hold the bogey on the front. Right, so whilst we're at it, we're going to get the soldered frame spacers . Because of course, whilst that looks like a chassis, it's not a chassis just yet. Now you can get all sorts of tools for bending things like this properly. What I do is I grab it in a pair of pliers and bend it. And there's our right angle. That one sits in there like that. We then have another spacer here. Yes, we do want this one. This is a dual use spacer. So there's actually two of these, and they will be used for different things in different ways. Because as well as being the spacer for the main body, this is also the spacer for the bogey. So when using it for the body, it is like this. When using it for the bogey, you cut the appropriate wedge of the hole out for either your 00 or EM, and the sides get folded down. For the body, it just sits in like that. And then we go to our other edge, get the other small 00 spacer off that. Try not to dig it into the workbench. You really would upset some. Thought that one had to have a special jig to get these things square. That is the joys of Southeastern Finecast, James. Once these screwed ones are in, everything is square. So for chassis that don't have nice easy screw-in spacers like that, you do need a special jig. This one, on the other hand, as you can see by the fact our spacers have all just dropped in, they're holding themselves and they're not even soldered yet. Jig not necessary. This is the sort of thing I mean when I say that these kits are amazingly simple to build. This is exactly the sort of thing I'm on about. The fact that their chassis are self-squaring is just one of the many examples of what is so great about them. Do not shoulder chassis yet. Oh, okay then. Fit the axle bushes into the frames and place chassis on a piece of plate glass or a machined surface if available. So, oh yeah, okay. Check chassis is square first. That makes sense, I suppose. Just in case. Again, we don't want everything to fall out of here because I will lose some of it. Such as these handrail knobs. I would say war bonnet would look better. It would. That is one of the most iconic liveries in rail history, and Real Beauty. I read Ian Rice's book, thought that it was much more complicated than this. Yeah. Most chassis are. Southeastern Finecast ones are not. Good job you read that. Don't say that. You don't say that. Where's the facepalm gif when I need it? Is it? Wish it was written on it somewhere. War bonnet was blue and yellow was the freight livery. Oh dear, Luke. Right, so of course we're going to knock all these out now because the bushes don't quite fit. So there's actually a fair amount of trial and error involved in the D1 at this stage, so there we go, that one now fits. Pop it back out so we don't lose it. Now I'm of course just running the file round in circles, and I don't want to take much off because I still want these to be a tight fit. Of course, a clever person would have done this before putting the spacers in. There we go. This makes me want to build SE Finecast kits. I'm glad about that, James. They are wonderful. And as I'm using Unisys Passion Livery as applied to channel supports it, it's a nice channel scheme. I didn't notice that, Christopher, because I didn't know what that livery was, so... But yes, James, if this is making you want to build Southeastern Finecast kits, I'm having the effect that I want to have on you, so... That one is really tight, I don't think that's going to fall out. There we go. Right, it's slightly too small. Okay, well, we're going to use the wheels to make sure this is square then. This is what is so good about Romfords. Square end into square hole. They are always quite a tight fit as well. That's normal. Even matched the font, right? Yeah. Good evening, Stephen. Welcome to the stream. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Make sure this one's going to go on okay. These are from their really tight days. They're not this tight anymore, but they're still generally quite a tight fit. Oh, and this is, I can see that there already. There's a slight little burr on the inside of there. Sorted. Nice large drivers on this, yes. Yes, they are 6'7.5" drivers on this. This is insanely easy compared to Gibson wheels. Yes, again, Romfords are brilliant. Oh, there it is. Speaking of tight fit wheels, I had to use a pry bar to remove the wheels on a Hornby B12. In and out, collecting the boys from their various excursions. As you saw, I have a Ceph kit from Midland Flat Irons and taking close interest. May have to rewind after. Yes, indeed, that flat iron kit. I've looked at them several times. Our moderator Alex the Mole is a fan of the flat irons. He is also a Midland fan. I wind him up about their looks because I'm not a fan of their looks, but it would be great to see it built. And as I say, Stephen, from the things I have seen from your thread, you would have no issues building that flat iron. All this just to test that it's square. There is of course a proper tool for tightening these nuts. I'm not tightening them up properly at the moment, as all we want to be able to do is roll it along the rolling road to make sure it does indeed roll. It would help if the wheel was pressed on all the way though. The proper tool is basically a flathead screwdriver with a chunk missing out the middle for the end of the axle to slot through. Hello A1, welcome back. Everyone has to cross the my mum once said flat iron looked like it had been sat on. I like flat irons looks. Someone has to like them, Christopher. I'm not a fan, but there we go. Right, if I just clear some stuff off the test track. That wheel's not on properly, is it? No. There we go. Other than the fact I haven't put the wheels on the axles properly, she rolls nice and square. That'll do me. They aren't the handsomest of Midland engines, I agree, but spot on for Birmingham area suburban train circa 22. One of the few legitimate uses of the ratio bay suburban carriages. I'll take your word on that, Stephen. It's good to have a legitimate use for them. Oh, I would say we all have to build the ugly locos to go with the pretty ones, but some of us model the Brighton. Woohoo, that needs everyone to smash the like in celebration. Yeah, everyone should smash the like button. LSWR didn't have many ugly ones either. Or the GWR. Oh, I can think of a few Great Western locos that were quite ugly. Dare I mention the Kruger? Of course, if we want to go for pure prettiness loco-wise, it would have to be things designed by Wainwright for the Chatham. Still applies if you're modelling Marsh era, yeah. The what? The oh. Or Sterling for the GNR. Oh yes, Sterling was a man who knew how to design a loco. So, or what? So you don't know what the Kruger is then, James? Okay, let me move some stuff out the way so I can get back somewhere near the laptop. Copy link. There we go. Here we go, James. For ugly locos from the Great Western, see this link. Oh no, I can't copy that link, it's too long. Right, let's just go to the Wikipedia page. There we go. Silly YouTube not letting me post long links. There we go. The Kruger. Far from pretty. Right, so now we know the chassis is fine, we can start soldering. Decapod was rather odd looking. GCR didn't have anything about it. Sterling asked Dave Joy to sign valve gear on his thing. Yeah. Was not a pretty loco, that one, was it? Gooch was a very good loco designer. Kruger flat irons do have a point in common with big Brighton tanks. Pretend can come off the rails on less than perfect track at speed. Yes. But I mean, drive any loco fast enough on bad enough track and it's going to come off. Don't think you can really hold that against them. Right, there we, oh, for goodness sake, this one's fallen out again. There we go, that's all the frame spacers fitted again. And the bearings fitted for the drivers. So now we can get to the solder. Honestly, it's not that bad yet. How many branches of the other tree did that hit on the way down? I believe, Luke, it hit all the branches and then climbed back up and jumped again. I mean, you're talking to a person who's LMS Terriers. LMS Terriers would be nicer than the Kruger. It's the only time I'm going to say nice things about LMS Terriers. They were worse than the Rivers, I think. That looked like the bonneted Renault Photoshop. DAF, XF Photoshop. Actually saying that the bonnet DAF Photoshop isn't that bad. It does look very US though. Be honest, the Kruger is, I think, the only locomotive I've never seen anyone defend. And I've seen people defend the Fell. So, you know. It's not often you see something that you can say could possibly be uglier than the Fell. Can I point out LTSR, only one bad class word if intended for them? If you say so, Harry. I don't know the LTSR, but I will take your word. Doubt you've seen either of those. The Alteriors don't look too bad though. No comment, Luke. That specific model didn't look bad. Right then. Solder. I'm probably one of the few who likes the MR USA Moguls. They're alright, Alex. I don't think they're bad. And my soldering iron got stuck. Don't know what it is about this solder recently, but it's got a tendency to get a bit sticky. And hold both itself and the iron in place. Terriers came from the Highlands LMS constituency. Oh, the fail. You have Mr. Host me. Oh. Don't defend the Kruger, Christopher. It's an ugly loco and there is no defending it. One of these days I'll attempt to build one of the Yankee Moguls. Some of the other Midland fans are USA Moguls were made by the devil himself. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. And it would be great to see one built by you, Corbs. Right, that all looks attached. Getting very hot, this is. It's not like the white metal where you can grab onto it. Put some around the bottom of these as well. Just because I really like to make sure things are held in place. Oh, lots of chat. I think I have drawings for the Yankee vocals. Did you know the NWR bought a few off the MR? Did now? Yes. Oops. I've seen the DAF XD, really interesting. Ran them into the ground. Seen similar comments over Duchess Hamilton USA Tour streamlining. Hello, Max. Welcome. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. That's Mr. Mole. That was 4. Oh yeah, well, you know, USA stuff on British locos doesn't look right, Christopher. Hello, Max. Evening, Max. Hello, Max. LMS Terriers. Go. Not the devil. GCR and GNR bought some too. Didn't even need Bill Baldwin on the English preserved line. Hi guys, evening. I was just on Hasson's and I bought a few plastic model railway kits. Some that need for projects. Excellent. Always good to have more projects. We have the start of a chassis here. I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone, hydration is important. Right, that's where his brake gear may now be fitted. The brake gear looks fun to fit. So next step is brake gear, which if we look up here, so along here we've got the brakes themselves, bits through the middle, the hangers on the sides, and wire, brass wire. The good news is I found my brass wire, so we've got plenty of that to use for it. If I put that way around, I can actually compare things, because now it's the same way as the drawing. There's some brake gear on there. There's some on there. I think the rest of that we are okay. If anyone, while you're here, Corbs, the box is basically ready. You just need to add backhead detail. Leave you to come up with motorisation if you did battery RC Scarlo, it'll be easy. Oh yes, box tanks need to budget for those at some point. Indeed, Alex. Won't it be nice to have a working box tank as well as your little static one? One brake, two brake. They look much smaller than these ones, and it doesn't tell me on, and the instructions appear to show them all the same size. How very odd. Even more odd is there appears to be too many of them. That says the Queen Forest files printed next week. That's too many box tanks. Plan to have at least 4. Nice. You need quite a small battery for that sky. Also, now those are ugly but suited to requirements. Working It's ambitious, Gary. They're very, very small. I'm aware of how small they are, Killian. I scratch built one. Alex's static one I built. But I have every intention of motorising this thing. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember the box tank correctly, there is less space in this than there is in a box tank. Oh look, future projects. That's it, everything fall over because I moved the glass. I'm very sure it can be done, Alex. Try Kato chassis, okay. Might do that. All tiny batteries fit in. Use with mesh box tanks. Also ask, would you recommend plastic model kits? Boxes with very narrow opening under the boiler. Yes, it does, doesn't it? So it's been a while, but I did scratch build one once upon a time, so yes, I'm used to the intricacies of them. Yes, I would recommend plastic kits. A1, they are brilliant. My first railway kits were all plastic kits. Ratio carriages and the sort. We did a plastic kit on stream not long ago. Built a wagon. Had it built and painted in an hour. If you want just the body. Go Friday. That's a lamp iron, so we don't want that. That's the EM one, there's the 001. Compensation beam. As you see, for the brake gear on these, even the sections for in the middle come in 00 and EM. So that the brake gear will sit properly around the wheels. I believe that's everything we want off this etch. It's looking a lot emptier now. Plastic kits, absolutely way to get started. Use liquid solvents or cement back. Similar, got a few wagon kits under your belt. Built, fixed and painted. Yes, we did, didn't we? Yes, indeed. Thank you for the correction there, Harry. Corbs first, therefore no Charles bought Knuckles ass. We'll work out mates race for your 4. Oh, very nice. Yeah, as Stephen says, A1, Met Pack or similar, great for plastic kits. And plastic kits are a great way to get started in kit building. We really must find some space in a stream to finish that wagon off and get it lettered. Needs another coat of paint. But after doing that in the hour on stream, it would seem a shame not to finish it on stream. There we go. And so there we have all the parts of the brake gear, and now a very knackered knife blade. Yes, we need to see it finished. We do. I think you'll see it in the Tuesday video this week. Not being worked on, but I think it's in the video. Hydration, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. Which is why I now need to open a fresh bottle of generic black sugar-free fizzy liquid. So that I have plenty of hydration here. Hashtag not sponsored. Working on the layout a little more today. Got the foam cutter out and reworking the tunnel since it used to be single track. Excellent, Max. Excellent indeed. So of course the next thing we need to do now is pick up all these bottles I knocked over before they push everything over, as they were starting to do. And then we need to clean up all these bits that we've cut out, because there's quite a lot of parts here. And they're all rather fragile. Yes, that's always the satisfying part. Every part's the satisfying part, though. Tell you, it'll be very satisfying when the D1 build videos catch up with where I actually am in the build. I cannot wait for you all to see it. Disclaimer, stream isn't sponsored by his favourite black fizzy drink. Got to go collect boy. Okay, see you later, Stephen. Thank you for coming. There are satisfying parts. On my years of modelling, I found satisfying. Having the model finish was good, but I always find modelling a chore. No, modelling's great, Alex. It relaxes you to the point of tearing your hair out. Disclaimer, for some people tearing your hair out is harder than others, because some of us cut it occasionally. That's one for the quote list. Yeah, well, I was just thinking that as well, actually, Harry. I think I model because I have to, not because I want to. If I could buy it all RTR, I would. Yes, I know you would. So, eventually we will have enough parts looking very nice to make what I assume is accurate brake gear. But I'm looking at this drawing up here and I can't see what the smaller brake pads are for. The bigger ones are very clearly used because we have the overlays to go over them, and I can see that on the drawing. Whereas these smaller ones I cannot see being used at all. And since the brake gear's instructions literally are with wheels and axles removed, brake gear may now be fitted, I'm really not sure that that's enough of a breakdown for me to work out what these smaller ones are for. If anything. Perhaps these had brakes on the bogies in Brighton days and it's not shown on the instructions, but then you would think it would be mentioned somewhere. Because everything else, options like that are mentioned. And I can't see, in fact I think I can see them on the prototype picture I've got up on the bogies, but I'm not sure. It could just be shadow. I like making things. Yeah, you tell him, Luke. Making things is great fun. And satisfying. But if we want to get onto things that are small and will make you tear your hair out, this box here is not, as it may appear, a laundry capsule box. It in fact holds people. And in this bag are the crew for this locomotive. Strange it isn't mentioned, but your hypothesis seems reasonable. Well, a lot of Brighton locos did have brakes on the bogies, but it's not mentioned, so I'm going to assume that's what it is. So yes, here is our crew for this loco, so that we can just get an idea. There's the fireman. There's the driver. They look great, don't they? Look, there's their heads. It's the back of their heads. Let's get them the right way round. That's the fireman. That's the driver. Right, there's the fireman's shovel. And their arms. So yeah, modelling relaxes you to the point of pulling your own hair out just by being so fiddly. These are, of course, Andrew Stadden's Edwardian Loco Crews. They are wonderful, along with all the other people he makes. In fact, look, they're so wonderful, I've got another bag of them. And as you can see from there, there's significantly more than 2 people in each of these. So I have built a few. And they're not that bad. But right now, it is hydration time again. I wouldn't be able to put those together because I would drop something on the floor, it would get eaten by the carpet, never to be seen again. I believe that's true for most people with things that size. Which is really why I like Model U and other readily made figures. Yes, but let's be honest, they just don't have the detail. I mean, I'm not a complete sadist. I do also have crews that come as crews, ready done. But nothing beats a Stadden. What happens if I no longer have hair and continue modelling? You'll either need to grow some hair again, or find someone else whose hair you can pull out. I'm sure it's just as satisfying. So we're going to need some wire for these. He says. We're going to take this one step at a time because this brake gear is quite complicated. This goes this way up with the long arm pointing down. Onto that goes a bit of flux. 3D printed figures just don't have the detail of metal ones. No, they don't. But we're going to actually use the soldering block. This is why we have it after all. There they are. Don't particularly want to get my hand covered in that flux. That was quite fumey, wasn't it? Oh good, it fell apart. That's what we wanted. One 3D brake shoe. As you can see, I haven't ruined it with way too much solder or anything. Where's that knackered knife blade? There we go. Much better. That hole through the middle, on the other hand, I think we've knackered that a bit. There we go. All it needed was the pin. Now it has a hole again. Let's do that 3 more times. Because, you know, we're sadists like that. And so when doing things in bulk like this, I always do one first to make sure I know what I'm doing. And the rest can be done in bulk. I'm saying no matter how you do them, those fumes don't get... Yes, I do mean a masochist. Yes, I do indeed mean masochist. Yeah, no matter how many times you do them, those fumes don't get any nicer. You're gonna have a drink. Hydration's important. Helps with fumes. Right, they're all reasonably cool now. There we go, that one's gone much better. So I'm just ever so slightly adjusting these with the tweezers before holding them down and lifting the iron off, which allows me to make sure they are definitely in place. This is why ceramic tweezers are good. This one's not going so well, is it? There we go, 4 brake shoes. So the one on the far right is the first one we did. And you can see the 3 we did after are much better because refined skill. So the next thing we need to do is attach them to these. Which is done with the brass wire. The brass wire goes across the bottom of this and then pokes through the hole. So we're actually going to solder it to the bottom of these first, with plenty of overhang. I had given up when I loco deleted it, just got out of the recycle bin, it's not that bad. Sent it to Rudy. Never give up. Things always look better when you go back to them later on. No, don't roll over, we don't want that. So I'm going to put some solder on these, then do the wire. I mean, I'm sure there's people that would pay good money for these fumes. I'm not one of them. Model you are good, still not a patch on a Staden and some other metal figures. This time, no, I'm with Alex here, Killian. Staden figures have something a bit more special about them. It's never going to hold. Let's poke a new hole, or just unwrap it once, that'll do. What use what else? They make 3D printed stuffs. A1. I will be using their brake rodding stuff on my exhibition layout. And I'd like to get myself scanned by them one day and me printed for the layout, but because that's a service they also offer. That'll do. Too long on both sides, which is fine, because we cut it down afterwards when we are completely finished with it. Yeah, I'd like to get my dog scanned, but he'd never stay still long enough. Get my dog scanned before he dies, but I don't have a clue how that would work. Yes. I can definitely recommend having a model of your dog. And there we go, another one done. See, it wasn't that hard. It just looks it. There we go, got there eventually. And that one's been pulled off when I've done that. That's okay, we can do that again. So now, in theory, this fits through this hole from the back, preferably not the front. and in theory fits through this leg of the brake gear. It very much does not, but that's okay. We have a solution for that, and that is called the pin. All I am doing is poking the pin through the hole. I'm going to do both sides whilst I'm at it. Because I'm sure the top will also need it. And so we now have a much better hold. So again, this goes through here and through the hole. There we go, just like that. Perfect. First time and everything. I'm just going to poke the pin through this one as well. This is a bit stronger, this one. It doesn't want a pin to poke through it. Just a normal dressmaker's pin. Yes, a dressmaker's pin would do fine. This one actually came from one of these were for the buttonholes for my sister's wedding, so I assume it is just a regular dressmaker's pin with a fancy end on it. Right, got there in the end. Just going to use my pliers to straighten it out a bit where I've bent it. And of course straightening it out has made the hole that bit smaller, so we'll poke the pin through again. Yeah, it's hardest hobby, isn't it? Another company does 3D printing. I do know Hardy's Hobbies actually. They are yeah, someone I know. So then we want another brake hanger. Pin now to save time. There we go. I've broke it off again. That was silly of me. So I say this is much more complicated than the D1. Oh good, it's going well. There we go. And with a little bit more solder, that should hold in place nicely. We go. Ow, that was hot. Going to put a bit more solder on this one as well. I wish those fumes weren't coming straight into my face, but there we go. Right, that one's nice and cool. We'll stand that up. Grab another bit of blue tack. Because getting these to stay the right way up is going to be the hardest part. Now this one already has solder on it. There we go. This one does not already have solder on it, so we're going to apply a bit and then pick it up before letting go. It's not quite straight. But that's fine. Because of course we just remelt the solder and move it. This one, it would appear, although it had some solder on it, could use a bit more. Again, that's fine. I feel like I'm holding my breath at the same time as you, Gary, when you do the fiddly bits. There's certainly a lot of holding breath involved. Hydration. But it went on. We have the beginnings of some brake gear. That looks focused to me. I'm hoping it is. I've got a load of chat in front of the screen there still, because Streamlabs does that on your phone. I don't know if it does it when you're using it on a machine, on a PC, but it covers the whole screen in chat. Out of date chat as well. Because in fact what is on the screen on my phone is actually the pre-stream chat. Yeah, this is the dangle under the... This bit dangles underneath the chassis. It's the wires in the top that go into it. Hello, Will. Welcome to the chat. Stream froze. Has it froze for anyone else? Because it still appears to be okay on my screen, on my screen testing it. Seems fine here. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Alex. So this just needs the pin again on this bit. Froze for me too. Chat on screen now, that's right. Yes, Will, amazingly, the thing that made chat on screen work is I deleted the chat module. Because at the start of the stream, the chat module was playing up and just appeared as a big black box. So I deleted it. And for some reason, deleting it made it work. So there we go, that one now sits nicely on there. We then need the two brake shoes to do the same, which I've just realised I built wrong. Very briefly froze here, it's been fine for a minute and a half. Okay, thank you, Killian. Yes, I've done these brake shoes wrong. I should have put the detail bit on the other side for these ones, because I've essentially done two sets of brake shoe, all four brake shoes to be on the same side of the loco. So these are going to need to be undone. That was silly. Never mind. They come off easy enough. The question is, do they come off with enough solder that I don't need to add any more. It would appear so. So I'm just holding the whole thing down with the tweezers, heating up the solder, and a bit of pressure to push it off. I can then flip round the hanger, move the shoe detail up and back onto it. Which would be, there we go, much easier if I could get a grip on it. Hold that down, apply heat for long enough to heat the whole part up and melt the solder that's in the middle. Remove the heat. No, not enough on this one. Okay, we'll add some more. Right then, mate, got the head off again. Might come back later. Okay, A1, been great having you here. If you can't make it back, then good night, etc. So I'm just going to apply a bit more flux. A bit more solder. And reapply the brake shoe. There we go. Goodness me, those are fiddly. Yes, yes they are. Anyways, enjoy the building, I guess, and good night. Good night, A1. Thanks for coming. My phone is a full minute ahead of the laptop stream-wise. That's an impressive amount of lag difference. I'm just going to put the holes back in these. Well, like I say, I do find with YouTube streams, the occasional refresh can help with keeping time. The good news is you lot always seem to have less lag than my telly does. Right, so these should now be there we go, able to hang on there. They are indeed. So, as before, we're not too worried about the position straight away, just a blob of solder. Struggling to get this one in place. There we go, that'll do. Brake gear, and it looks all right to me. Stream has been quite good tonight for not falling behind on me. Haven't had to refresh at all for once. That makes a change. Has to happen occasionally, Alex. It's down to under 10 seconds now. Right, with that brake gear finished, hydration again. Very important, especially when you're over the soldering iron like that. There we go, that's all the blue tack off. Pop that away. And so those go that way round, about there. In theory, should sit nicely around the wheel when it's done. And so now we need to add these bits, which I'm just looking on here, and for some reason these are L-shaped, but you don't actually want them to be L-shaped, it says. It says they should be flat, and so you need to cut straight across there. Very strange if you ask me. It is a double etch, that knackered blade is never getting through. But neither will these snips properly. I really don't want to knacker these ones. These snips are my best condition ones, because in some parts... Focus! No, not going to focus tonight. In some parts the blades actually touch each other. You can see, there you go, you can see the light coming through them. Right, that's my Minecrafting done for tonight. Got a good amount done. Yes, do try not to knacker them. Well, I'm glad your Minecrafting is going well. Did you find any more diamonds for your enchanting table? think this doesn't sound so bad as earlier. They'll do. Oh, not yet, but I've been mining. Not yet, not been mining, but have improving the house. Oh, fair enough. Poke through these holes. At least one of them won't need doing. The hole is bigger than the pin anyway, even if it did. There we go. Right, so the middle hole goes through the middle hole. Okay. That makes no sense to me how that bit there works. Also traded for something interesting, bits of secret till the stream. Also, as we enter the final third of the stream, can I remind everyone to smash that like button? You can remind everyone to smash that like button, Alex. It is great when you remind people to smash that like button. You should also remind people, if you're not subscribed, then do jump on the subscriptions. Every single one is appreciated. We hit 100 recently, and we are going to keep going, keep growing. And for those that don't know, when we hit 100, I did a 100 subscriber giveaway, which is still active on the channel. You have until next Saturday to comment on that video if you would like to enter for your chance to win this nice painting of a Russian locomotive. That could be yours. Next Saturday is the day that you need to enter by. So do go subscribe, hunt for the 100 subscriber video, and make sure to leave a comment. Your name will be entered into a draw, which I shall do next Saturday. And it will literally be names out a bowl type draw. I will film doing the draw. So it should be nice and fair. I'm very confused by these instructions. They seem to be implying that in fact this bit that runs along should be on the inside of the frames. And I can't tell from the picture on the box. But that would mean taking it apart, making it into a slot rather than a hole so it slides down. Of course it does have a slot there marked out, but it also has a hole pierced through it. In Soviet Russia, train paints you. Just always draw the names out of an LB&SCR hat. If I had an LB&SCR hat, I would, James. Unfortunately, I do not. There it is. Brass wire. So what do we think then, guys? I'm going to wait for your opinions here. Let's get the camera to point properly. There we go. So we're working on this bit here. The way that this comes through here and then seems to go over the top and through there. To me, that's implying that all this should actually be inside the frame and it's only moved out here for ease of seeing it. What do we think? We could be wrong. We should get him one of the hats with the D3 on it. I mean, you know, it wouldn't be the first gift I'd received from Stream, Killian. I'm going to top up my drink whilst I wait for responses. Still no responses. Surely all the detailed bits would be outside the frame and thus visible. There'd be no point otherwise. Yes. That makes sense. But I can't see them on the completed model. I know they're there because you can see a bit of it in the middle there. So they're definitely behind the wheels. I'll tell you what, we'll build it as it is, and if the wheels don't fit, we'll take it all apart again. It's fine. Can you repeat the question? I missed it. Right, so, Alex, we are looking at this section here. This is what we're building at the minute. It's the back end of the brake gear. I'm about to put this on, which obviously passes straight through here. But the way that this comes along seems to imply to me, from it going over the top and into this side, that in fact this brake gear setup should be inside the frames and then obviously the brakes themselves on the outside. Built as is, they are very much outside the frames. As you can see here, they do have these slots in them, so they could go further onto these diamond shaped spacers, but they also have a hole through them. Yes, see, that does look rather like the diagram wants them inside. Yeah, this is what's concerning me, is that it does. So I say, I can't see, you know, they're definitely there, but they're very hidden away. And well, I can't see them at all on the prototype photo that I've got. But I'm also looking at that, how close, how far they stick out. The sides there. and thinking that as they are, they're going to catch the wheels anyway. Which of course would be a problem. I mean, I appreciate that they come in apart nice and easily. I'm wishing I didn't have to take them apart. What were you saying about these being easy to build? They are easy to build. Let's see if we can see this. There we go, we can see this one better. Again, is that so if we get focus on here, you can see there is actually a slot there that could easily be there so that it slides onto the diamond better. They're very easy to build, James. I could quite easily miss the brake gear. I personally don't mind not having brake gear on a model engine. By the time it's moving around the layout, do you see the brake gear? No. Even less so if it's between the frames. I would agree, brake gear is a bit of pointless detail. 9 times out of 10, you never see it. Exactly. But of course, then you go to an exhibition and there's someone standing there. Oh, that loco doesn't have any brake gear on it. And it's generally frowned upon to deal with people like that in the correct manner. Yes, we just got another train running. 2 tracks this time are operational. I've just got to get a few more things and we should be good to go. Brilliant, Max. That is excellent. There we go. Nearly done. That one I think is okay. It looks a bit mangled, but it's all right. There's always one of those people, yes. Always, at least one. I'm not so sure that is okay now. No, it's definitely not. That's a pain. Now, the only way to know if it's truly okay no, it's not. That one even less so. Never mind, these would be easier to do if they weren't covered in solder. That should do. Just like making the hole for a coupling hook. Much better. So all I've done there to make the hole is I've taken a small flathead screwdriver, placed it along and put some pressure on it. And of course, being a flathead screwdriver, that's now given us the long flat hole that we're after. Just like that. Sprung buffers are equally pointless in anything smaller than gauge 3. My vote is just go to forget the brake gear, show video tomorrow, press made, start where we are now, do away with it. I agree with Alex. It's tempting. It honestly is. You know what? You're right. There we go. Most of my locos don't have brake gear anyway. I'll put the brakes on. Because, you know, you can see the brake shoes. So I'll hang the brake gear down. But I want to have the wheels on when I sort that out, because then I can make sure I get them in the right place. So I'll do that, but not right now. We have half an hour left, and the next step after the brake gear is the front bogie. them up there. Stream has voted that they can go, so they can go. Front bogey. For construction of the front bogey, orientate the frame spacer, half etched F at the front, bend down front and rear tabs as shown. Remove shaped areas with a needle file. Solder side frames to spacer as shown. Bogey brakes are provided but were fitted to very few locos. There we go. So they are bogey brakes. They get a brief mention in there, but they're not on the drawing. This isn't. Oh, this is the one with the. So there's the spacer. Right, chuck that away because that goes through there. That goes there. One bogey frame. Two bogey frame. Brake good, brake was bad. I3 preserved, all lost. Check it. Photo one. None were preserved. No. I1X had a rude nickname, as Gary will know. Yes, yes it did. Yes. The I1X had a nickname that does not meet my PG standards of the stream. So much though. Side tear has been preserved, although that same can be said for most pre-grouping companies. I mean, we've got Gladstone. Who doesn't love a B1? Oh, it's called the i3. Oops. Yeah, i3 rather than 13. Yes. It is confusing. Plenty. You're not the first person to get confused by that. So the bogey actually only consists of 3 parts. Well, this is where I want the file that has snapped so that I can get the finer end of it in there, which I can't with this. Do I have anything that will? This one might. Yeah. There we go. Only one bright and tender loco preserved, that being Gladstone. Soon to be 2 with Beachhead, while some give a loco rude nickname. Shame it's an LB&SCR. Yeah. Does it count as a preserved loco if it's a new build? And it is very much a shame it's not being done in Brighton condition, but it's nice that we're getting one because Atlantics are nice. And of course it meant I could get a Brighton condition model because the Southern liveried one is in Brighton condition. It just needs a repaint. And ideally some bogey brakes. It is of course important to get these bits filed out properly, because this is where the frame spacer goes into. I was wondering that, considering it as a new build, it makes it more modern than 90% of stuff running on the network. It does indeed. Certainly be the most modern thing in the southeast. Right, so for double O, we want this way. We put a fold in there. We put a fold in there, and as I said before, this is the same bit of etch as the frame spacer there, reused for the bogey. It goes in like that. It does, however, have a large part that needs removing. I should have done that before folding it, really. Oh, don't. There we go. My phone doesn't twist that far. Okay, let's do it like that and plug the charger back in. Because you see, now I can get Mr. Knackered Knife Blade in here. But what it says to do is to remove it with a file. And I mean, that's a lot of material to file out. Those will never get in there, that's just a silly idea. I would much rather try the already knackered knife blade. I count it as a preserved loco as it's not owned by BR's offspring. Fair enough, Killian, to make a trip south when it's right, even if it's here now. There we go, and that would be much easier to clean up that hole with a file. Than it would have been to make it in the first place. Can't just twist that one out, okay. There we go, much easier. Currently having a bit of a brownie at the moment. Oh, very nice. More lag, fine now, but I missed what you said. I said a few things. I said that they've got the tender top for Beachy Head now, which is nice because it's coming along. You know, that's all the major components there now. And I said that this was much easier twisting it out as I just did there, and then just cleaning up the last little bits with a file than trying to take the whole thing out with a file. I suppose we can move back over here to where we normally work now, actually, can't we? Now that I'm not stabbing the desk. Oh, phone went funny there. LB&SCR has done better on preservation than the SEC or the LSW. That's true, yes. Although the SEC is going to get a new logo that you would count as preserved once Beachy Head's finished, so there's that. Well, I forgot to get the name of the VHS step site. I don't as soon as I can. Not a problem, Max, not a problem. Loco projects I'm most looking forward to still the Patriot project and Reese Smith. Just I think I'm going to hit the hay now, gang. It's been a fun evening. Great work, Gary. Good night then, Corbs. It has been great having you here again. Thank you for joining us. I shall speak to you soon. And another one, the Crampton is finished. It's an SEO. Oh, that's a good point. Yes. I keep forgetting about the Crampton. Right. Where's me bag with the screws in it? There. Because what we need to make sure now is that the screw can pass through. Yeah, there we go, plenty of room. And just take the burrs off there. Check it again. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, maybe it needs a little bit more off this side, but let's do it properly, eh? There we go. So now we want to fold these back down again. Second hand to the SC, but SCR all the same. I'll build a transfer. Although we discuss and chance for SCR D-class model in the near future. Yeah, SCR number 81, but for France, often LNWR bought by And I was surprised if there wasn't RTRD in the near future. I know the RTRD has been looked at by Bachmann. But I also know that Bachmann are now working on an SECR E-class, as they announced at the Bluebell. And a part of me wonders if the D's been sidelined as being too similar to that, to be honest. Very cynical part of me wonders that, but a part of me nonetheless. Oops, sorry, ignore what I said. Okay, I didn't see what you said, so I shall definitely ignore it. So we're going to put some flux on these. There we go. To change this model, hopefully it'll come one day. Wouldn't stop Hornby though. They did both the H1 and H2, so they might do both. Yes, hopefully Hornby might do instead. Who have measured it? I think you mentioned it. Oh, I see it's one. Hornby also looking into the release one. Hornby and Bachmann have both measured the D. PG stream, everyone. PG. Ah, poops. I knew that was going to happen. It's really, really hot, in case you were wondering. Still really, really hot. Also not quite seated properly. That looks better. Although now it looks like it's falling over. Still really hot. Remember folks, 400 degrees is rather warm. Try not to get your fingers on it too much. Yeah, okay, that's cool enough to hold now. Just taking off some of the solder so I can get it to sit properly again. There we go. Oh, for all we know, it's fairly advanced social room. Remember how quietly the H has been developed? True. So a Crampton being built alongside the LB. Most good time for us Victorian Loco fans. Yes, Alex, it is. NWL bicycles, the kits available online, not to mention large Samsung as well. 400 degrees, what you saw. Same team did Planet. I have my eye on Sector 288. Awesome. Yeah, it would work at less than 400, but you know, it's easier to turn it up and leave it and not think about it. And so the knob just gets turned up to somewhere in the high ranges. This iron goes up to 480 degrees. Which feels like quite a large number to me. Who needs a jig when you've got the wheels? These are going to need some reaming out. But at least we know that that's square. Those wheels would never turn like that though. I'm sorry, Luke, I wasn't sure what you meant with part of the conversation. Oh yes, come on then, who has super site if the PKK Little England's double follows reception on that place seems to be quite legal. All of its best news useful is about enough silver soldering. I'm very excited about the Englands, just hope they won't. Preservation model of the chassis might work for an England print. I must stress my yes, hope the first version buying some whatever comes out be my years. Yes, I'm very excited by them. Mine is sitting, my one that I made is sitting just out of reach at the minute. But yes, very excited for them to be made. They will be excellent. Put those wheels away for now. It's just be reinstalled. Okay. Surely have to install one before reinstalling it instructions. So these are supposed to have a wire across the front and back as well, which I'm really not sure what it's for, because the brake gear would hang on the inside, but it says about it there, so we shall get that done just, I think. And then that is the bogie, you know, that's the main frames of the bogie, the chassis finished. and the bogey finished, I think that would make quite a good place to end the stream. And this is why you don't cut until after you've soldered. In all years as a model, I never started saving as soon as the announcement was made. The England's changed all that. First issue rail model I bought as a young kid had the double fest in the argument. But yeah, the Englands are going to be great to have as models, and coming from Kato as well, they should be very good. Because as I'm sure everyone here, or most people here will know, Kato mechanisms are excellent. A couple of my 009 models have Kato mechanisms in them, and they are beautiful runners. There's the iron turned off. Because with those snips, that is our modelling done for tonight. Oh no, it doesn't fit through this hole. That wasn't expected. Well, there we go. We'll just leave it like that. So this evening, so let's catch up with chat. If someone made an RTR, why is it casual look and thinks enough about J70s? Yes, they would. Also, Festinian was one of the first ones I ever really visited as a young kid. I've never been. Penultimate book child. Series basis for my layout, so I need at least one. Excellent, Killian. Might get an English kit, don't know. Yeah, what do you mean might, Luke? Get one. Great news, Kato doing it. Gives me hope of 009 from them in the future. Kato make HO chassis, something I'm not aware of. Running on pre-orders, trains, it's up discontinuation 103 chassis. Brilliant stream, dude. Great price made. Oh no, we're in 2 minutes. I'm too late, aren't I? Was hoping to get more of those. I'm hoping they don't quit making the 104. I didn't realise they'd stopped making the 103. That's a great chassis. That is a shame that they've stopped making that. So yes, thank you for coming, everyone. Luke, get an England. Everyone should get a little England. I don't know if Kato do HA chassis, but I do use them for 009. This, for example, has a Kato 103 under it, and it's an excellent runner. But tonight we have built the main frames for the chassis. We have built the bogie. It is all looking great, even if I do say so myself. Mallard is on the move. I saw Mallard going down to York Station. Kato do make the if I come together, I'm even more excited to get mine in October. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Harry. I think they mainly do N. Yes, best like Everything else, quite impressive progress for you, especially without a jig. Thank you, James. I am very happy with what we've managed over the 3 hours. Well, there we go. It's almost like it's a loco. So yes, thank you everyone for coming. It has been absolutely wonderful having you here. And I shall, you have been awesome. I have loved every minute of it. You have ended the week brilliantly for me. So that is all for now. Good night, everyone, and thank you for coming.